look at today 5 ways our parents, teachers, public school system are failing our kids. Now, I'm not a teacher. I worked in the school system for a number of years. And I can tell you from a parent's perspective, I can tell you from the administrative perspective, I can tell you from the kids' perspective, I can tell you from the teacher's perspective, ways that we are failing our kids. I believe these ways can be fixed. So that's what we're going to look at today. Yes, kids can succeed in any school system. I don't care if it's a disadvantage. I don't care whatever it is. We've seen people succeed where they have no home support, where everything's against them and they still succeed. So I'm not saying that it's impossible to succeed in the school system. However, there are definitely some obstacles that can make it more difficult than others, where other people would give up and not pursue it. And of course, some people would say, well, just blame the kid. And I mean, ultimately, yes, we all do make our own choices. But I think there are ways that things could be made easier. And so we're going to look at some of those ways. Yes, number 1, parents need to be tyrants. Parents need to be stalkers. How can you not know? And I see this all the time. Like in my job position, when I meet up with parents, first thing I ask them, have you seen your kid's report card yet? And for some of them, unfortunately, the answer is no. I didn't know they had report cards. I didn't know they were out yet. He told me they didn't get them yet. He told me he lost it. Parents falling for these stupid old tricks. Why? Because they're not on their game. They don't know their kid's teacher name. They don't know the school subjects that their kids have. They fall for the trick, we didn't have no homework. Because the parents are not stalkers. The parents are not tyrants. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. But I mean in a sense where that parent knows what's going on in that kid's life. And that's not just with education. That can also be in other areas such as social media. What's going on in that kid's quote-unquote personal life. That parent is clueless. This kid is living their own life. And a parent is not aware of what's going on. Now, there are some great teachers. You got teachers who know their subjects well. They have great classroom management. Kids are sitting in their seats. Kids don't have cell phones out. Kids are attentive. Kids have on their uniform. Everything is going great. Okay? And then you have some teachers that are, for lack of a better word, poor teachers. You go in their classrooms. Things are in chaos. I know a kid who told me, I don't want to go to class because I'm not learning anything in that class. The teacher does not have control. Now, here's the ironic thing. That kid has 6 other teachers. And that one kid is not acting that way in other people's classes. Is it because that kid is sort of crazy where they just act nice in one class and in another class they don't? No. It's because they know that certain teachers demand some respect. And other teachers don't demand that respect, so they run over them. But some teachers need to be at their jobs on time, and they need to stop calling off. Now, I'm not talking about emergencies. I'm not talking about family situations. Some teachers just have a convenient habit of calling off for school. Now, you might say, well, they have substitutes. No. Kids, a lot of times, if they find out a substitute is not there, they are going to skip. They might hide in the lunchroom. They might leave the building. They might go in a teacher class who's quote-unquote cool and let them skip in their class. I've seen this over the years. I know that might sound shocking and surprising, but it happens. All because this teacher is called off. And that kid has decided, I'm not going to learn anything today. We have a substitute. So what I'm going to do? Why am I going to go to that class? That's boring. I don't want to watch a movie. I don't want to do some work that's not really going to count, just giving me some busy work. So I'm going to skip. Ultimately, that teacher calling off affects a whole system. Or a teacher who is consistently late to school. I've seen that happen as well over the years. That affects everything. Now, this one is a sensitive one, but I have to talk about it. Now, let me say this. There are definitely some kids who have no problems. They're have special education, whatever you want to call it, learning disabilities. They don't have a problem being in a quote unquote regular class. They're able to learn. But you have some I've seen who are not able to learn in a quote unquote regular class. A lot of pressure. They're not catching on as fast as other kids. Or kids know that they have what's called a resource teacher where they have to go to the teacher and do work. And of course the kids, I know somebody who came to me and just broke it down like she felt, she had low self-worth. Like she didn't feel like she was somebody because she has to go to a resource teacher. Everybody knows that she's not catching on. So she feels dumb. They call it dumb. Why do you have another teacher? You stupid. Why, when, they ask this person to read, they don't want to read because they don't read as well as other kids. Struggling because they're in quote unquote regular classes. Now, these kids, special education kids, are not learning because everybody knows that they are special ed. And if everybody knows they're special ed, they're going to get teased. They're going to get talked about. People are going to laugh when they mispronounce words when it's time to read in class. Or they're just going to be playing bored because they're discussing a subject, for example, chemistry, which they don't get at all. So, of course, they're going to act up. They're going to show out because they don't get it. They don't know. And it's not that they're afraid to ask, it's that they might ask, but they might get teased. We need addiction counselors in the public school. To quote Stephen A. Smith, there's a lot of kids that's addicted to the weed, all right? From weed to heroin, sipping on lean, Xanny bars. Right? Some of that stuff on there, I know you don't know what it is, but again, that's part of the problem. We don't have education. People don't know what's going on. And we need kids that have resources they can go to for addiction counseling. Now you might say, well, what about school counselor? I'm not saying school counselor can't help, but a lot of school counselors are doing a lot of the education academic work, looking for scholarship, helping with financial aid, changing classes, kids not getting along with the teacher. They're so busy doing that they're not able to really put in the time to give some addiction counseling. Same thing with psychologists. Yes, a psychologist can do some of that as well, but a lot of them are helping out the quote-unquote special ed kids. Or they might help out with, somebody who might be suicidal. And all those things are great. But they need addiction counselors in school because I know a lot of kids, not just boys, with girls as well, that I've talked to, they are addicted to marijuana and all types of drugs. And if that's your mentality, then how are you going to go into a school and a learning environment when you high? This is the last one, the dropout. Now, in the state I live in, the dropout rate is 16. Which means once you turn 16, there is nothing legally anybody can do to make you go to school. Now, a parent might throw out, some encourageability type of things. That might be a way. But I'm saying, but other than that, a kid can drop out of school and in junior year, and when a kid is behind, let's say they're behind, I know some freshmen who are 16 years old. They can literally drop out of school in their freshman year, and there's nothing can be done about it.